Good evening, wrestling fans. Welcome to Evolution of Pro Wrestling. I'm your host, Lewis, the encyclopedia of professional wrestling.
And this is Jay, the whiz kid of pro wrestling.
Oh, man. You guys are in for an excellent topic today. We've relived this topic, but we're going to bring it back today with a little bit more controversy in it.
Yep.
Our topic today was originally supposed to be the history of the WWE and WCW titles. But as always, Evolution stirs that pot.
Yep.
Jaden, tell them what our topic is today.
Our topic is finishers. You know, the greatest finishers of all time. What's your favorite finisher? What's everybody's favorite finisher? And will these finishers be able to compete against each other? And how strong all these finishers are. That's what we're going to be comparing today, and it's going to be an absolutely great time.
Man, the last time we had this topic, the last time we had this debate, we had numerous people requesting to do this topic again.
Yeah.
And that's what we're going to do. Your favorite, pretty much we're asking you, what is your favorite finisher?
Right.
And who do you think could compete against this finisher? Do you think the finisher is better than someone else's finisher? Do you think that the finisher is terrible? That's what our topic is today. Finishers and maneuvers. So, Jaden.
Yep.
We've had this topic before. Jessica Hoffman, thank you for joining us as always. And what do you see? What are finishers in professional wrestling?
Finishers is like, you know, the final move that ends the match, basically. So, you know, Seth Rollins has his curb stomp. Shawn Michaels has his super kick. You know, Roman Reigns with a spear. Batista bomb. And, you know, the list goes on with the wrestlers and their finisher moves. So, basically, the finisher move is probably one of the most, or if not, the most powerful move in their move set. So, basically, like I just said a few seconds ago, that's the move that just ends it all. You know, they start off clean, they start off strong, and then once the ending of the match comes, the finisher comes out. And the finisher is so fun to watch because it's not just like, you know, like a regular kick to the face. You know, like somebody will put their arms behind somebody and then they'll flip them and then throw them. So you never know what to expect out of a finisher. You can make up any type of finisher. A finisher is a finisher. And at the end of the day, a finisher is probably the best move in your thing.
Well, when it comes to finishers, like you said, it ends it, but sometimes it doesn't end it.
Right.
Sometimes it takes like three or four moves to finish this person. You know what I mean? Sometimes, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Sometimes it's not the way you do it. It's the force of the move.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, for instance, to me, by far the most dangerous move I've ever seen is the Tombstone, the Undertaker's Tombstone. You know, but can there be any other finisher that can deal with the Tombstone?
The RKO.
Really?
The RKO.
How?
I mean, because like the Tombstone.
No, okay, yeah, the RKO is effective.
It's effective, but
the
like,
RKO is definitely effective. That's no doubt. But can you really compare the RKO to the Tombstone?
You can, because the Tombstone. Don't get me wrong. The Tombstone is probably one of the most deadliest finishers in the WWE. But you know, it takes a little while to get that person in that specific spot. And the RKO, it can happen out of nowhere. It can happen if somebody jumps off a ladder. It can happen when somebody's turned around. It can happen off of the top rope. It can happen if you throw someone in the air. You can RKO somebody out of any time, and you will least expect it. You know, the Tombstone, you will expect it, so you know what to do, and you know how to reverse the Tombstone. People don't expect the RKO because it happens out of nowhere. For all we know, Randy Orton, and then the next second, he just gets up and RKOs you out of nowhere. And the move is very effective because probably 70 or 80% of the time, you don't see people get up. Or, let me reword that, you don't see people kick out of the RKO. Now, sometimes, you know, there are wrestlers that can kick out of the RKO multiple times.
Hold on a second, Jaden. We're getting a message from Jessica Hoffman. Says, I can't see you guys. All I see is the top of your head, laughing out loud. I'm not sure. I'm looking at Facebook. I see us just fine.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what's going on. I'm not sure if it's your camera or something, but
everybody else, tell us if you see us fine.
Yeah, let us know if there's any issues. We'll restart the audio again.
Yeah.
But yes, it's kind of hard to compare Randy Orton to to pretty
Okay,
much
so you can see us now, Dad.
Randy Orton's RKO to The Undertaker. The Undertaker pretty much took every single man out in almost pretty much every single man
Pretty
out
much
in
almost,
professional
but
wrestling.
there is a few people who has kicked out of.
Of course,
the
Shawn
Tombstone.
Michaels is one of them.
Triple H
Rock
is one of
Lesnar,
them.
Triple H. We
There's-
talk about
yeah.
Triple H. You know his pedigree.
Exactly.
His pedigree is also a unique and dangerous.
I feel like I can agree with you on that, but at the same time, I feel like that move is slept on only because of the format and the way the move is set up. Like, he just puts the opponent's hands on their backs and then, he drops them. But believe it or not, that is a powerful move. You have somebody kicking you in the gut, putting your hands on your back, knowing you can't do nothing, and then you're getting dropped flat on your face and your stomach. That hurts. Like, that doesn't feel good.
No.
So I feel like
especially if it's not an open arm.
Exactly.
That he's just gonna drive you straight into your head.
Right.
You know what I mean?
So that's a really effective move right there. I feel like people sleep on that move.
But which is better, that one or the DDT?
See, now it depends on who uses the DDT. I feel like if it was a pedigree versus the Jake the Snake Roberts DDT, Jake the Snake takes that all the way because he was the one who invented.
He
the
invented
DDT.
it exactly. He
Exactly.
invented the DDT.
DDT.
So we got a newcomer here, Jaden, Mr. Herbert Stenson Jr. He is new to our show, so welcome. We welcome you to seeing our show. As we mentioned, fans, today's topic is the history of your favorite finishers. Pretty much, which finisher you think is better? Is it the Cobra? Is it the Cobra Clutch? Is it the RKO? Is it the Tombstone? Let us know what you think.
Just drop
Your comments. Drop your comments.
Yeah.
Also, while you are watching, fans, please feel free to share our content all over Facebook, in your group, in your page, to your friends, to your family, to your sisters, your brothers, your mamas, your cousins,
Anywhere.
all that stuff.
All that.
Anywhere. Just please share now. So, Jaden, we just had a comment by Mr. Christopher Brown, a very loyal fan. He said that, and Jaden, there's one finisher that can be worse for one. It'd be done out of fear, if possible. Botch, a.k.a. the pop-up power bomb. If Owens is out of position, you're taking a 7-foot drop to your face.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah.
And then Jamie Smalls, welcome, brother. As we mentioned, we're talking about the your favorite finishers, and who you think has the better finisher in the WWE.
Right.
Or in professional wrestling, period. Jose Ortiz, welcome to the show. First timer here on our show.
How you
He
doing?
says Arn Anderson had a pretty good DDT, of course.
Oh, yeah.
I would have paid to see Jake the Snake and Arn Anderson against DDT. So, you talked about the RKO, I talked about the Tombstone.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what about, let's see, maybe the Scorpion Deathlock against
What's up, Irfan?
Figure 4?
Or what about the Figure 4 versus the Sharpshooter?
Well, it's the same thing.
Okay,
The
but like,
Scorpion
okay.
Deathlock is the sharpshooter.
Okay,
because
Scorpion Deathlock is the
named
sharpshooter.
different.
But, okay, who would you prefer to see it? Who would you prefer to use that move? Like, just anybody who's ever used that move in their lifetime. Like, because Chris Jericho had a similar move, the Walls of Jericho. So that was basically like a sharpshooter type move. Because, it was... I feel like the sharpshooter and the Walls of Jericho was basically, like, kind of the same move. Since, Chris Jericho had his opponent, like, bent on their back. And that looked like it hurt really bad. And the sharpshooter looked kind of like the same way. So I kind of feel like they're the same move. But Dad, who you got? Who do you think uses that move the best?
Listen, to me, listen, it's kind of up in the air because you have Sting and you have Bret the Hitman Hart using that move. You know what I mean?
But I feel like Bret
and in a way it's similar to the Scorpion Deathlock and the Sharpshooter, but in certain aspect it's not the same because you have pretty much. There's different ways of how to do it because Bret Hart does it a certain way, and so the Sting. So it looks, since it thinks it looks similar, it actually doesn't. But I would have to give it to Bret Hart. You know, I like
agree.
Sting. Don't get me
Right.
wrong. I like Sting. I like the way he does the move. He's an icon in this business. But
I still feel like,
I
yeah, Bret
feel
Hart
that
is the best.
he is the best.
Now, Dad, I got a question for you.
Okay, before you get to the questions, Jaden,
Okay.
we're going to read some comments real quick.
All right.
Luis Javier, first time person on the show. Thank you for watching, sir. He says, no, it's not the same. The move we were talking about, Scorpion Deathlock. He said the Lion Tamer is better. Also, we got Mr. Christopher Brown saying Kentai's GTS versus Punk's GTS, which means that's to go to sleep.
Go to sleep, yeah.
So, and Kentai is in New Japan. So imagine those two going at it with
The same
move,
finisher.
the same finisher, and both are great athletes.
Oh, yeah.
You know, Kentai, they misused him in WWE. So imagine putting him with CM Punk. That would be an epic match.
That would be an epic
and
match.
Jamie Solomon says, Stunner is being used in different ways. I never thought it could. Yes, Kevin Owens has.
It has been used in
It has
different
been
ways that
used.
I never thought, but I still feel like Stone Cold will forever hold the place in having the best Stone Cold stunner in the WWE business.
Yep. No. Absolutely. Stone Cold will always have the
Yeah,
best.
he will
stunner.
always have the
You know,
best.
that's
stunner. Like, that
definitely
would never change.
that
At
would
least
never change.
for me, that would never change. I just feel like Stone Cold
No,
will forever
that would never
have the
change.
best.
Jessica Hoffman says the figure eight from Charlotte and Jericho's Judas Effect. Charlotte's figure eight is a powerful move.
That looks like it hurts.
Oh yeah,
Don't,
no.
it looks like it hurts.
Listen, I took the figure four again from your godfather, that jerk. He pretty much gave me a figure four, and it hurt like hell. So, Luis says the stunner is always best. Who sells the move? Exactly. I was waiting for someone to say that.
Yeah.
Pretty much the stunner. Anybody can do the stunner. But it's how you
it's
sell
how you
the
use-
move.
yeah, exactly.
And the one that sold the move the most is, oh man, this guy, he's, we think alike. We have the same name, Lewis, we think alike. The Rock was the best one to ever sell that move.
The stunner?
The stunner.
Absolutely.
He was the best one to sell that move.
I gotta
all the time.
agree with you 100%.
All the time. There was nobody else that was able to sell that move like he did.
No,
and it was
not at
amazing.
all.
It was amazing.
No.
Like that rivalry between those two.
They had a heat,
it
and
was
they had
amazing.
a great rivalry.
It was
going
no,
on.
it was
that
amazing.
was probably one of the greatest rivalries I've ever seen in like my lifetime of watching WWE.
No, it was amazing.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it, and it's I wish wrestling can be that way, the way it was before, because wrestling now is like,
Right.
you know. And yes, you're right. HBK sold it too. HBK did sell the move.
He did sell it, but I still feel like The Rock took
The
that
Rock was the
all day.
best, though.
Yeah, The Rock was the best. Now, Dad, can I proceed with my question?
Sure, go ahead.
So, you know how we were just talking about the RKO, right?
Yeah.
So, which one do you take, the RKO or the Diamond Cutter?
Well, we mentioned that last show.
We mentioned it last
We
show,
mentioned
but
that
now
last
that
show,
there's
but
new
now that
people
there's
here,
new people,
who do you?
know,
Which one do you take?
I
Now
would
that there's
ha-
new people here, what do you take?
Listen, I would have to say, me personally, the RKO. I say it because yes, the Diamond Cutter is effective. But the RKO can be caught out of nowhere.
Like I said earlier, it can happen out of nowhere. It's unexpected. Like you get an RKO hit on you when you least expect it. You'll never see it coming. You can have your back turned, and then after that, you're on
it's
the
happened
ground.
to numerous people.
Oh,
Brock
yeah.
Lesnar, Undertaker. When
He's-
Undertaker tried to
yeah.
choke slam him at one point.
He
at
did it
WrestleMania.
to Hulk Hogan while he
did
was
it to
in
Hulk
he was
Hogan.
at his car.
Yeah. So
Did
it
it
can happen
numerous
anywhere.
times. Oh, yeah.
Christopher Brown says Vince came close to setting the stunner to Dwayne's level, but not quite. Laughing out loud. And yeah, somewhat. Lewis says The Rock took the cake. Of course, he always sold the stunner, and he also says the RKO for that. And he says the Diamond Cutter is more of just falling. RKO is more of a jump.
Right.
Yes, you're right. So pretty much with that situation, it's tough to say with to certain people which one is better, the Diamond Cutter or the RKO. But to us, it's the RKO because it's so effective. It can happen like that in a blink of an eye.
So that I
can get up and just do an RKO on my son and he'd be over with. He won't know when it's coming though.
So that I got one more.
Sure.
So we're talking about kicks here.
Mm-hmm.
Which one would you take? The super kick or the bro kick?
Wow, that's an interesting question. The bro kick or the
Sheamus'
super
bro kick and Shawn Michaels' super kick.
I would have to say Shawn Michaels super kick.
I agree. But okay, no, for me actually, there's two sides to this. I feel like for me, there's two sides to this.
Okay,
I feel like so Sheamus's bro kick is basically a boot to the face. It's just like Shawn Michaels' super.
No,
kick.
it's a powerful.
It's
move.
a powerful move.
But how are you gonna get it? Like this,
that's what I'm saying. But look, that's the thing. It's similar to the RKO only because it can happen out of nowhere. Just because it's a kick. So, like, say, for example, your opponent's on the top rope and he tries, going for a jump on you or something, you can give him a bro kick, and he tries to close on you, you could give him a bro kick. But I feel like Shawn Michaels' a super kick is better because he lifts his leg all the way up to your face. And basically, he doesn't have to, jump because Sheamus has to jump when he does the bro kick. So, all Shawn Michaels has to do is just lift his leg up. And it can basically happen in, no time. And it can happen really easy. Shawn Michaels practically did it the best out of anybody I've seen do the super kick. Like, I feel like
to me, the best super kick that I've ever seen was when he did it on Shelton Benjamin.
Oh,
when
yes.
Benjamin jumped from the rope, and then he just...
I agree.
Just bam.
That was He's done a lot of great super kicks in the past.
He's done
but
a
I
lot.
feel like that
He's
one
done
was
a lot.
I feel like Shawn Michaels' super kick though was more effective.
I know fans are gonna hate me when I say this, but I would have preferred for Shawn Michaels to have ended the streak than
for the
Brock
Undertaker.
Lesnar.
Oh yes. Oh yeah.
I'm sorry.
I agree.
With that move, it was effective.
But not even that. Just one more thing before we move on. I feel like it was even more effective when Shawn Michaels was at his prime. Like, young Shawn Michaels.
Well, Lewis says HBK, in that sense, but he says, but super kicks are overused. Which, yes, it's true.
Now they're overused. But
back then, it was one man, and that was Shawn Michaels.
Yeah, Shawn Michaels used it the best.
Christopher Brown says, Jaden, who would you rather take the bro kick from? Sheamus or Claymore from Drew McIntyre laughing my ass off?
I feel like I'll take Drew McIntyre.
Yeah, I'll take Drew McIntyre's.
I'll take Drew McIntyre's Claymore, but I feel like there will only be one bro kick, and that is Sheamus's bro kick because I feel like nobody can do it as great as Sheamus. But I feel like the Claymore is more powerful because you have a super big and tall guy running at you, and he's giving you like a knee or a boot to the face. Well, and that's not easy. That's not lightly to take. So,
well, Jamie Solomon says Foley Sacco or Santino Snako. You remember that? Come on, the Snako. And I'm like, that was pretty funny in the Royal Rumble when they did that. So it was. I gotta give it to McFoley.
Yeah, I gotta give it to McFoley. Believe it or not, that was a really weird finisher move. But it can do the job. It can do the job. You're sticking a sock in someone's mouth. That's nasty, and you're toking them. So that's gonna make them.
Well, Jesus,
so it's really powerful.
Jesus says the super kick that I didn't like was when he super kicked Ric Flair. Of course not, because that ended Ric Flair's career. WrestleMania 24.
I mean, I liked the way they did the super kick, but I didn't like the fact that they did that. He did that to Ric Flair. I would have preferred somebody else.
Yeah, it was sad.
It was sad.
Jamie says RVD versus Shane coast to coast chair kick. Do you know what the coast to coast is?
Is it that when you go from one top rope to the other?
That's what Shane McMahon used to do.
I feel like Shane McMahon that's his best move in his moveset. Besides him jumping from a 3-story Hell in a Cell or something like that. Coast to coast was probably his best move. He's did coast to coast on his dad. He's did coast to coast on Shawn Michaels.
On the Undertaker.
On the Undertaker. He's did it on a lot of people, and then sometimes he spices it up by putting weapons in front of them, but sometimes he just does a coast to coast. And coast to coast doesn't just hurt the opponent; it hurts you. That's like a homicidal type move because you're hurting yourself just to hurt another person because you're jumping from one top rope all the way to the other. And believe it or not, a ring is big. A ring is really big. So imagine jumping from one top rope all the way to the next.
That takes a lot of agility.
Exactly.
That takes a lot of agility.
That takes a lot of breath out of you, too.
No, absolutely.
Because you're jumping from one corner to another.
That takes a lot of agility to do some shit like that.
Absolutely.
So, let's read some more comments, Jaden. Everybody, listen, I like this guy Lewis, man. He's been hitting
on it.
Up. Everyone in NXT is kicking each other's faces. That's what I'm saying.
Right.
Professional wrestling is not the way it used to be.
And
it would never be the way it was back then.
I know people are gonna get mad at what I'm about to say, but wrestling will never go back to being a PG-13 era. It
No,
will never go back to an
absolutely not.
attitude era. It will never go back to you seeing blood, people getting hit with chairs, all that stuff, and heading with chairs and all that stuff.
Christopher Brown says Luis Javier. That's probably because HBK is in NXT. He's an NXT coach, and he's given those wrestlers his blessing to use the move. Lewis says nope. It's an indie wrestler who super kick every other move. Adam Cole, Roderick Strong. Yes, it's not. It's being overused.
Right.
So HBK had the best kick.
Right.
Chris Benoit said. Chris Benoit. Alvin Kyle says Chris Benoit's crossface or the Dragon Sleeper.
What is a Dragon Sleeper?
Pretty much, you put the guy's neck right here, and he's like that. It's an effective move. It's a very effective move. I gotta say the Dragon Sleeper.
Yeah, I agree. Especially if you're a big guy with some muscle, strangling the opponent. Yeah, I gotta give it to the Dragon Sleeper.
No, that's an effective move. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? See, this is the Dragon Sleeper, Jaden.
Oh yeah.
You see that?
Yeah,
You
I've
see that,
seen
right?
that. Oh yes.
You see that type of move?
Oh yes.
That's the Dragon Sleeper.
Oh,
so,
yeah,
yes,
oh,
I
yes.
say the Dragon Sleeper
I
over
agree.
the Cripple Crossface.
Yes.
And Luis Javier says Johnny Gargano. Yes, they all using it. Jessica Hoffman says I agree with you 100%. Yes, it's so different now with these moves. Like it's not the same. It's not the same the way it used to be.
That's what I'm saying. Like you see, like okay, now if you see a spear, it's not exciting anymore because everybody uses it. If you do a super kick, it's definitely not exciting anymore.
Wow.
Because you see a super kick on the regular.
Exactly.
So,
Exactly.
it's crazy.
Fans, before we continue, we wanted to say, please feel free to share our content onto your page, onto your groups, any groups you got, your friends, your cousins, your mothers, your fathers, your sisters, anybody in the world.
Yes.
Bring them in to have this wonderful topic with us with the Encyclopedia of Pro Wrestling, Lewis.
And the whiz kid of pro wrestling.
Who wouldn't want to hang with us?
Right,
You know what I mean?
exactly.
So, Lewis says Ultimo Dragon had the best Dragon Sleeper.
This guy's
Hell
Lewis.
yeah.
This Lewis guy's on a roll.
Right?
He's on a roll right now.
No, it's true. Ultimo Dragon did have the best finisher in professional wrestling. The man, he did it all. He did it all in WCW. It was a shame that he had to leave WWE. WWE pretty much dropped the ball with this man. I thought he would. I think he would have been
Sadly.
great. Yes, sadly, WWE dropped the ball with many people. So, I wish it would have been different. I wish they would have used him more. But it was just. a shame.
Things happen for a reason, though. Sometimes things happen for a reason. It could have been for the better, but sometimes it could have been for the worse. But at least we know that he had a purpose to be in the WWE because his finisher was really good. So yeah, that's good.
No, of course. So we got Lewis saying cattle mutation was sick. Yep, I remember that move. It's let me see here. Let me show you this move, Jay.
Okay.
Cattle mutilation. This move was pretty intense. See this move here?
Oh,
That move was
man.
lethal. That move was lethal.
Yeah.
You have that move, and you gotta submit. There's no way to get out.
Yeah, there's no way.
Unless somebody helps you.
Or unless you find a way to power that out, there's no way of getting out.
Oh, wow. This is a good one Alvin just mentioned. RVD's Frog Splash against Eddie Guerrero's Frog Splash.
Oh,
Wow. That's what I'm
baby.
saying. I didn't we didn't hear these comparisons last show. So, damn, that's a good one, Alvin. I actually like that
I feel
one.
like RVD's Frog Splash was probably the best splash that I've ever seen. Besides Eddie Guerrero.
Eddie's is better.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Eddie's was better.
Eddie's was better. Eddie's form was better with that Frog Splash, but we can all agree that RVD had probably one of the best Frog Splashes.
Absolutely.
In the
Absolutely.
WWE.
And then Christopher Brown says Eddie, without question, Alvin, he got more hype
Yeah, he
than
does.
RVD when he did his move. Yes, because
And I feel like he
Eddie Guerrero was agile.
He was very agile.
And Lewis says the American Dragon. Oh man, Whew.
Yeah.
It was. I wish, man. I wish we could have seen so
But what
much
about
wrestling now, man.
But Dad, what about Jimmy Superfly Snuka
Oh
Splash?
man, the splash. Oof.
Who do you give that one out of those three? Who has the best splash? RVD's 5-star frog splash, Eddie Guerrero's splash, or Jimmy Superfly's Snuka splash?
Listen, I am.
That's like
Listen,
300
I
pounds, 200
am
pounds on your
a
body
old
right now.
school guy. I love old school. But with this one, I have to give it to Eddie Guerrero.
Okay, good. I agree.
I gotta give it to Eddie Guerrero.
I agree.
Eddie Guerrero by far.
Okay, so besides Eddie Guerrero, now who do you have? RVD or Jimmy Superfly Snuka? Because we all know that Eddie Guerrero probably has the best splash.
I would say Jimmy Superfly Snuka.
I would say that too, but I gotta go with RVD.
Okay.
I gotta go with RVD.
Okay.
RVD, his vertical was so high when he did the frog splash. Like you would see, it would look like he was going to the other top rope because of how high he was jumping. So I gotta give it to RVD on that second place frog splash.
Okay. Well, we have a few comments. We have Mr. Lewis again. He says Eddie, same thing, but he says Jimmy was boring.
You know what?
Excuse me. I don't think so.
I agree with him, but like back then, the frog splash wasn't used that much.
No, but that's what I'm saying. Back then, Jimmy Snuka. People fail to understand. Some people, not saying that you do, Lewis, that when it came to Superfly Jimmy Snuka, it wasn't really about wrestling.
Right.
It was about brawling, entertainment, and that's what Jimmy Superfly Snuka provided to the fans when he came in, and he pretty much did the splash from a 15-foot high steel cage, the only person to ever do it. So I still think about that match to this day with Don Rocco.
That was a good match.
And Christopher Brown says, I'll still go with Eddie. Yes, between Eddie and Jimmy Snuka, I got to go with Eddie. Eddie, far more agility, far more, I wouldn't say stronger, but the way he does the frog splash is far more superb than the splash.
Right.
Jessica Hoffman says, 619. I guess you're a Rey Mysterio fan.
That's not a bad move, but I feel like the only downside of that move is it's an easy counter. So like,
of course, you grab the legs.
Exactly, you grab and Rey Mysterio is a short guy, so that's even easier to counter. But that's why Rey Mysterio is probably, to me, is one of the most smartest wrestlers in the WWE because he's small and he's fast, so he can move around in the ring, which gets his opponent tired, and then he starts wailing out on them, and then once he does that, 619 comes into play, gets on the ropes and does his little splash. So I feel like Rey Mysterio's finisher was a good finisher. I didn't feel like it was like the best, but it was an effective finisher. It was enough to affect your opponent. It got him a title. It got him a World Heavyweight title once. So
no, it definitely got him a World Heavyweight title.
It's an effective move.
Which many people figured that it was not going to work.
Exactly.
They didn't think it was going to work. And eventually
he was an underdog,
did.
so I can kind of see why. But you know what? Rey Mysterio proved everybody wrong with that finisher.
So 718 from Amazing Red, the Cold Red. Yes, that move is efficient. That move is lethal. It's these guys that he's mentioning. Oh man, this guy's mentioning a lot of good moves that I would have never had thought to see, and it's amazing that we can get these new people in here and have this conversation. He said Pete Williams, the Canadian Destroyer. Yes, another great superstar. Christopher Brown says, yeah, it begs the question of what Dominic is going to use. Exactly. Can Dominic use the 619? Since as a bigger guy, taller than his father, will he use something else?
You took the words right out of my mouth.
You know what I mean?
That's what I was going to say, but I also feel that's one thing I feel like that's what made the 619 so unique is because Rey Mysterio was a short guy so he can go through the ropes, but I feel like the 619 also has to do with speed because if you just leave your opponent there too long, they can possibly get a counter move, hurt you more than you try to do more damage on them. So I feel like it's speed and height with the 619. That's probably that. Like I said, that's why
Rey Mysterio has always had the speed.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I'm saying. That's why I'm saying that move will never be another copy. Like that move cannot be copied. Probably even by his own son because Rey Mysterio, like I said, is a short guy and he was fast. So that's what made it so unique. He was small enough to slip through the ropes and kick his opponent in the face, and then jump on the top ropes and do a splash. So that for me, that was probably the most unique wrestling finisher I've seen. Cause you don't see anybody else doing it. You see a few in a Blue Moon doing a Starship Pain or a airborne move or something like that. But you've never seen a single person besides Rey Mysterio do a 619. So I feel like that's probably the most unique move in wrestling.
Well, Lewis says that Rey Mysterio copied the move from Amazing Red. I don't know. Rey Mysterio has had this move since his luchador days.
Oh yeah.
So who knows? You could be right. Michael, what's going on, brother? Long time no see. How you doing? Welcome to the show, champ. Yes, you're absolutely right. It's kind of hard to explain. You have to be a high flyer,
right,
in order to do something that is going to catch the attention of the fans. And that's what Rey Mysterio did.
Right.
You know what I mean? And Rey Mysterio pretty much captivated the fans with his agility.
Right, and his height, too.
Exactly. And Lewis says, it's a fact that Rey Mysterio did take it from Amazing Red. I'll definitely search into that. Christopher Brown says someone from Lucha House Party could probably get away with using the 619. The 619.
From the Lucha. Yeah, exactly. Because they're not tall guys, but they're not necessarily. I feel like they're not Rey Mysterio short, but the Luchas are fast.
Well, we have a little disagreement. Says. Rey Mysterio. Michael Robbins says Rey Mysterio was doing the move before Red. Jose says he says it himself. So it's kind of a debate here with this move. So I'm gonna have to do some research on who did this move. I can actually do that research now. While we're doing it, Jaden, tell them about some more moves, man. Mention some more moves.
Okay, I'm trying to think here. I'm trying to think of a move to compare with Batista's Batista Bomb.
How about the Jackknife Power Bomb by Kevin Nash?
Okay. I don't really think this counts as a finisher, but what about Undertaker's last ride?
That's a finisher.
Okay,
that's
then
definitely
Undertaker's last ride. Undertaker's last ride.
Oh man, that's an amazing finisher.
The Batista Bomb versus the last ride. Which one you got, Dad?
Damn, that's a close one, man.
The last ride, it may look like a regular finisher, but Undertaker grabs you and throws you. He launches you. He doesn't just throw you down like how Batista
Wait a minute. We got a question here by Alvin Cloud. He says, in your opinion, who has the best choke slam? Wow!
You hit us with a hard one there.
That's a good one because there's numerous guys that do choke slam. There's the Big Show. There's Kane. There's Undertaker. Sid Vicious.
All of them.
Damn. That's hard. That's hard.
I think I gotta give it to either Kane or the Undertaker.
I say the Undertaker. Actually, no.
I give it to Kane.
I'm actually give that to Big Show.
No. I'm gonna give it to
Big Show. Big Show puts more impact on his.
He puts more impact in it, but Kane can do probably multiple at a time.
Well,
so Kane could do one, and then he could go to the next opponent and do one. Just like how him and Undertaker, they choke slammed. I believe it was Mark Henry when they both choke slam Mark Henry, or it was somebody. It was a big guy. So I feel like it's either the Undertaker or Kane. But if I had to choose, I'll choose Kane.
Well, Christopher Brown says the last ride will be another comparison with excuse me, with the Batista Bomb.
Right.
Lewis says Batista Bomb. He picks the Batista Bomb.
I picked the last ride. I gotta go with the last ride.
Michael Robinson goes with the Undertaker for the choke slam, and Christopher Brett. Excuse me, I'm sorry. Christopher Brown says, let's not leave Great Khali off that choke slam list, Lewis. Laughing out loud. Are you kidding me, man? Come on. Great Khali was not a good wrestler. With all due respect to the man,
wasn't.
He was powerful with that choke.
All he did was walk around and chop you.
But it was effective back then. It was a move that was supposed to be strong.
Okay, but that's one move, and then once
that's what I'm saying.
that's the only move he can possibly do.
He said Sid Vicious. Sid Vicious also had a hell of a choke slam.
He did.
That he'll pick you up with one hand and just slam the shit out of
That's
you.
what I'm saying. Sometimes Kane can do the same thing. Sometimes Big Show can do the same thing. But I still feel like Kane had the best choke slam.
No, it was
Kane. If Kane did the best, I feel like Kane did the best choke slam because I feel like whenever he did the choke
Even
slam,
Michael said it. He wasn't a good wrestler.
Yeah,
Great
no.
Khali was not a good wrestler.
no.
The Cop Killer Fro. Oh man, I remember that. It's hard to choose these moves because how can you compare some of them? Like, can you compare a label lock from Daniel Bryan to a cripple crossface?
Right.
You know, you've seen the label. You've seen the submission that Daniel Bryan does. You know, you see Chris Benoit, the move he did. So
that I got a question. I feel like I don't really think these moves are similar, but they are in a way. Which one are you taking? Hulk Hogan's leg drop or Seth Rollins' curb stomp? They're not similar, but they're still probably two of the best finishers.
Okay, before I answer that question, Michael Robinson has a question for us. Who has the best clothesline in the business? I remember, to me, Stan Hansen. You don't know who that is. That's an old school guy, but there's other guys like JBL.
JBL had his clothesline from
Ben Belt, welcome, brother. Welcome to the show. He's Ben Cliff from England. Welcome. He is on the other side of the world. We appreciate that you're here.
I feel like in my time when I was watching wrestling, JBL's clothesline from hell was the best.
Hold on, Jay, before you continue. I'm sorry, Ben. Today's topic is the history of wrestling finishers.
We did this before.
We've done it before, but we're reliving it again now with more people into it.
And
which finisher you think is better? Which
Yeah.
finisher you think you could compare with each two?
Exactly.
So, Lewis says yes. What you just said, he answered your question. Michael Robinson says JBL.
Exactly.
Lewis says, Lewis was saying yes to my question. Stan Hansen knocked someone's eye out. I remember that. I remember that match. It was lethal.
Oh God.
That guy was powerful. He was a powerful guy. It was Vader. He fought Vader in Japan.
Oh man.
And they fought. He clotheslined Vader. Vader's mask got attached to his face, and the eye popped out of his face.
Oh Jesus. Oh man.
It was tough. And yes, Ben Cliff, you're right. JBL did have a brutal clothesline, but I don't think it was stronger than Stan Hansen.
I mean, that was like Stan Hansen was from a different time, and JBL was from a different time. So you can't take Stan Hansen's clothesline.
See, even Jesus says it. The best clothesline was Stan Hansen. The man was phenomenal with that clothesline. He was lethal. He was a brawler. Like, if you were to see one of his matches, Jay, you'd be like, holy shit. Like, what the hell is happening here? You know?
Yeah.
Lewis says Vader's moonsault. Oh, man, I've never seen a bigger guy do a moonsault.
Oh, yeah, do a moonsault. Oh, yeah.
That was lethal.
Vader was a fast guy, and he was lethal. A big dude.
You know, God rest his soul. It was good. It was a good moonsault. As a big guy, I would have never have seen somebody move that fast.
No.
You know what I mean? So, in your opinion, Jaden, do you prefer, which move you think is more effective? The super kick or the claymore? And while you waiting for that, while you ready for answer
I
that,
have my answer already.
All right, hold on to that answer for a minute. Ben Cliff says, okay, my favorite finisher of all time is Greetings from Ashbury Park by Bam Bam Bigelow. First move that ever made me say, holy shit. Yes, I remember that move. The man was another one. He was another fast guy in the ring. He was a big guy, but the man was fast in the ring. And Lewis said that Stan only used the clothesline in pay-per-views. Yes, because it drew a lot of money. It drew a lot of money when it came to Stan Hansen. The man was phenomenal in the ring. He was a lethal person in the ring, and you couldn't mess with him. You couldn't mess with him because he would kick your ass.
Right.
Bottom line. Michael says, I have to go with the claymore. So
I go with the super kick.
Okay, why?
Because, okay, I get it. The super kick, is overused nowadays. but there will never be a more unique super kick than Shawn Michaels. Shawn Michaels does it different than everybody else. Shawn Michaels gets in his specific stance, once he starts banging his foot on the floor, is business. So I feel like Shawn Michaels' move was more effective. One, because he can catch it out of nowhere. Two, Shawn Michaels did it the best, and every time he would do a super kick, he would fall right on you, give you a pin. The Claymore, on the other hand, it's a strong move. I can't sleep on the Claymore because, if you get a foot to your face or a knee to your face, that's not something you can take serious, something you can take lightly.
No,
but
absolutely
I still gotta give it to Shawn Michaels.
So Jessica Hoffman says the last ride. You said Shawn Michaels. I would have to say the same thing. Now Christopher Brown asks, who has done the shooting star press the best without botching it, without messing it up? Shooting star press. This is a shooting star press. You know what I mean?
Who do you think?
I would have to say, and I know you guys are going to kill me when I say this, but Ricochet.
Ricochet? I'll say Evan Bourne.
Ooh.
Evan Bourne.
Wow. Imagine that match would have happened.
Oh, Ricochet versus Evan Bourne. Oh man. Wow.
Ben Cliff said, well, we got another one that says Ben Cliff says super kick is overused these days. Everyone does super kick, so Claymore wins me.
See, that's what I'm saying. It's like that's why I said that's the only reason why I said that, because the Claymore is not, is a unique finisher. But the Claymore is what you call it? Like I said, the Claymore is a unique finisher, but I feel like the super kick is even more unique because you don't see a lot of people using it.
Well, Lewis goes with Evan Bourne, and Michael Robbins says, "What about the RKO?" RKO we've talked about, and Lewis says Marqueen AEW. And Ben Cliff says finishers aren't finishers anymore. Anyways, everyone kicks out of everyone's finishers these days. And Evan Bourne has the best shooting press or Matt Cross.
I agree.
Ben Cliff.
I agree.
It to me it's kind of tough to call. Evan Bourne. I wish they could have put Evan Bourne to like maybe an Intercontinental Champion, but they never did it. You know what I mean?
They dropped the ball. I feel like they dropped the ball with him too.
Christopher Brown says, and that's exactly the problem, Ben. There are too many false finishers in a match, and it's turning the fans off. Exactly, right. Because wrestling is not the way it used to be.
No, not at all.
Wrestling is not the way it used to be.
Absolutely
Wrestling
not.
And back then was good. You saw the moves. Yeah. Nobody kicked out.
Right.
Once Hulk Hogan let that leg drop, that's it. It was over.
It, no more.
Once you got hit with an elbow from the Macho Man, it was good.
Everything. No, even these some of these wrestlers you see now. If you was to see a pedigree back then, nobody would kick out. If you was to see a tombstone back then, nobody would kick out. If you was to see an attitude adjustment when it was the other word, nobody would kick out. Like nowadays you see like too many kickouts, but you never used to see any of those.
Jesus asks, what about Billy Kidman's shooting star? He had a good shooting star.
I don't know who that is.
Yeah, that's somebody you don't know. What Ivan Cloud says, who had the better version of the Power Driver? And this is the answer. We actually got another newcomer, Mr. DJ Pika. Welcome, sir. Welcome to our show. Please feel free to share our content around your...
Who did do the best version of the Power Driver?
I would have to say, well, he mentioned Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff, which was an amazing superstar.
I gotta give it to Undertaker. I feel like Undertaker was one of the people, or if not,
they banned Paul Orndorff's move.
Why?
Because of the way the Power Driver was.
So that means it must have been a powerful move.
And it was. And Lewis says wrestling is subjective. Of course it is. It definitely is subjective.
It really is.
And he said everyone has their different tastes. Yes, you're absolutely right. I love the old school. All the way, 80s and 90s.
I love Attitude Era. I don't like wrestling from 2013 and up. I enjoy wrestling from 2011 and down.
Ben Cliff says he nearly killed so many people doing his shooting star press. He's talking about Billy Kidman. Billy Kidman's shooting star press was okay. Yes, I think he broke somebody's arm. If I'm not mistaken, it was Chavo Guerrero's. But when not botched, it was a good move. Lewis says it's all in the crowd and where you are. Yes, because the fans want to see that move. They want to see the shooting star press. Right. Or they want to see the head drop from the top. Or they want to see a super kick, Claymore, spear, jackhammer, jackknife,
see all
everything.
But then what I hate, like we were just saying, there's too many kickouts nowadays.
Yes.
So the moves aren't interesting anymore because everybody just kicks out of them and they're done multiple times.
See, this was the problem with Paul Orndorff. He never protected his opponents like the Undertaker does. So the Tombstone is good. Avocado says, what about Owen Hart? Owen Hart had a good sharpshooter.
Oh, yeah.
He had a good sharpshooter. Lewis says the Phoenix Splash. The Phoenix Splash, let's take a look here. Phoenix Splash, I've heard of that move. Let me take a look here. Phoenix Splash. Let me take a look. And yes, that move is superb.
Oh, yeah, the Phoenix Splash.
It's superb.
Yeah.
It is superb.
Phoenix Splash.
Michael Robinson says, I love the 70s, 80s, and 90s. Of course, best eras. Those are the best eras.
Hey, Dad, but I got a question. Do you think there could ever be another Starship Pain, the John Morrison's finisher? Do you think there could ever be another one of those?
Which finisher?
The Starship Pain. You know, when he gets on the top rope and then he does that super weird flip on his opponent. Do you think there could be another move?
No.
I agree.
No.
Yeah.
DJ says Brett broke. Well, actually, it wasn't Brett. It was Owen Hart that broke his neck with a pile driver that ends in conventional form. Yes. Cactus Jack pile driver was sick too. Yes, he used to drag him by the tights and put him in. Jesus says for the pile driver, I have Eric Embria and Bob Sweeten. Okay, and yes, actually Owen Hart. And Lewis says there was a lot of it before him. Yes, there was a lot of pile drivers, but it was interesting when you mentioned the pile driver. He used it against against Hulk Hogan, and it got a lot of feedback and it got a lot of heat. You know, the rivalry between those two was amazing. Lewis says AJ Styles. Yes, I forgot what was the name of the move that AJ Styles uses.
The Styles
the Clash Crush. The Clash Crush, something like that.
You mean the Styles Clash?
There you go.
Styles Clash.
And Ben Cliff says, for me, here's the hardest question. Who has the best frog splash? For me, we actually touched that. We mentioned Eddie Guerrero. I mentioned Eddie Guerrero. He mentioned Eddie Guerrero. Many fans mentioned Eddie Guerrero.
But in the second place, I'll give it to RVD.
To RVD.
If it wasn't Eddie Guerrero, I'll give it to RVD.
And it was good. And he sold it well. Yes, you're right, Ben. He did sell it well. But I gotta give it to Eddie all the way. All the way.
Yeah, I feel like it's still a debate for me between RVD and Eddie Guerrero.
Yeah,
it's still a little debate for me.
Yeah, it was pretty interesting.
To be honest, that's a question I can't answer. I can't answer who had the better frog splash between RVD and Eddie Guerrero. That's just something I can't answer.
Pretty much.
They were both unique.
Well, Jaden, I think it's almost time. It's almost that time to finish this show. Before we continue with that show, before we continue to end this show, we want to hear, in your opinion, what was your favorite finisher in all of professional wrestling? Tell us now. Tell us what you think, and we're gonna give yours. We're gonna give you ours at the end of the show. So we have Michael that says Eddie Guerrero all the way with the frog splash.
Right.
And we have in the best match ever, Rick Rude and Warrior each pile drive each other. Piper distracted the cause, ruining the match. I saw that match at SummerSlam. Avocado's best flying headbutt. Who did it better, Benoit or Daniel? Benoit. Worst finisher, finger poke of doom. I remember that. Give us fans, Jaden. Tell them your finisher of the night.
My finisher of the night is the super kick. Shawn Michaels super kick all the way.
That's an interesting pick.
That's my kick. That's my pick.
I gotta give mine to The Undertaker, the Tombstone. Christopher Brown says, my personal favorite finisher is the Stunner. By the way, on SmackDown, Sasha Banks just did a piss poor impression of Taker's eye roll, laughing out loud. Well, mine's, I gotta give it to The Undertaker. So, but fans, we appreciate you watching. We appreciate you joining us as always. And please follow us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, and now TikTok. We are currently in the stages of making more TikTok videos. Please join us there. Also, subscribe to our YouTube channel, Evolution of Pro Wrestling. Find all our great content there. It's content you do not want to miss. Also, as we mentioned it before, we are starting in the matter of a month Throwback Thursdays. We are going to be throwing out there the old episodes from us. Maybe our matches from the past. We'll be throwing them out there and we'll put them up there. We appreciate you guys always tuning in. We appreciate the support. From myself, Lewis, the encyclopedia of professional wrestling.
And the whiz kid of pro wrestling, Jay.
Thank you for joining us, fans. Tune in to next week. Evolution of Pro Wrestling Trivia 3 with special guest Alvin Cloud. When you think you have the answers, we change the questions. If you got what it takes, join us next week at 8:30 for Wrestling Trivia. Join us next week. Have a good night, fans. From all of us here, myself, Jay, my wife Yesenia, thank you for joining us.